This is Peter Cardinal here. I'm at the Kikino Métis settlement on our ranch. We call it Cornerstone Ranch. The Kikino Métis settlement is about 180 kilometers northeast of Edmonton, Alberta. Consists of a land base of 107,000 acres, and we have probably between 1,000 and 1,100 permanent residents. I live here with my wife Brenda, and this is part of our ranch here. And we like the ranch lifestyle. We like the farming lifestyle here. We have a small buffalo ranch here that we operate just over there down in the fog. This is looking west, and we go 1 mile west. We have a half section of land here, and this is our driveway coming down, and we got a little teepee right here that we have on our land, and also operate a carriage rental business. We do photography. My wife is a dog breeder. So we have the entrepreneurial spirit like many Métis people. Anyways, one of the things that I am very interested and passionate about is the aquaponics vegetable growing operations that are coming about now. In about 2008, I started looking for ways to help find food security for the Aboriginal people. And the research that I had been doing indicated that the food industry was not a very good system nowadays because of the chemicalization of the foods that we eat and the impacts, the negative impacts that it's having on our health. We as Indigenous people have probably some of the highest rates of diabetes in the country and other food-related illnesses. Anyways, when I started looking, the research showed me that there is a direct connection between health and food, and that it was probably a good idea if we could find a system that could ensure that we as Aboriginal people would have access to healthy food. When one looks back to the true spirit and intent of the treaties, the reserved lands were originally set aside for food production, which is not happening in our country today. So I started looking and wondering how is there a way that we could attain food security for growing our own food. So I started looking into the potential of a meat processing plant, which led me to finding out how the food system operated and the big main players and everything else, and finding out actually how unhealthy it was. So I started checking out, seeing what was the healthiest ways, and then finding out that the connection to organic vegetables and the positive impacts that it has on health, and then started looking for ways to secure a system that would enable us to produce all the vegetables that we need for our own use, and finding out that the cost of a startup operation was in different systems. The one I'm looking at is a little over $3 million. We needed to find a secure way to be able to market it. So I started looking into what industries are around us, and of course we have the oil sands industry just to the north of us, and that oil sands industry has many camps in it. So I ended up looking at what is the potential of us to be able to supply food, vegetables to a camp, and realizing like, okay, kikino, we could build a system here, but that's still not enough. So realizing that we have 7 First Nations and 4 Métis settlements in the region here, I had just preliminary discussions with some of the leaders from some of these First Nations and a couple other settlements, and around the idea of going into food production and supplying camps. Some of them liked it and everything, so I pursued it farther. I ended up having a meeting with the senior vice president of Cisco Systems and explained, the potential idea, or the idea with the potential of developing aquaponic systems. And he became very interested in it, realizing that if we as Aboriginal people got into the food production and the vegetables using the aquaponics and everything, that we could help provide healthy food at a lesser cost than what they're presently hauling it in from Southern California, Texas, and Mexico for the vegetables into these camps in the wintertime. That with the aquaponic systems, we could produce vegetables full-time year-round right here in our Aboriginal communities. And that was very intriguing, and then realizing that, hey, this thing could go bigger, but how would we organize it? I looked around and had discussions with many people on the idea, and then we realized that a co-op system came to mind when I went down to the Medicine Hat area, which was the greenhousing capital of Alberta. I went down there to take a look at the potential in growing vegetables and everything, and there was an organization there called a Red Hat Co-op, which is a producer-owned co-op of, I think there was 48 greenhouse owners in the area that owned this Red Hat Co-op, and all that Red Hat Co-op did was market for them. The producers grew the products on their lands in their greenhouses, took it to the Red Hat Co-op, they washed it, bagged it, and distributed it to the end users, the stores. And I thought, wow, that concept would be awesome if we designed a co-op for the indigenous people here and use that co-op governance model, which is proven successful over 100 years already. So we looked at that, and now we would look at putting an aquaponic system just across where the hill just above the fog there is part of our land. There's three-phase power going by our land. There's natural gas there, and there's a turn-off that goes west where we're looking there. That's one of the two possibilities. And we would create a model here in Kikino that we would get an aquaponic system up and running, tie in with Cisco or the co-op people, and look at using that model to help show the other leaders from indigenous communities that it could be done, and that collectively through a co-op system we can provide a bigger service and a better service. So that is what we're pursuing now. Thank you very much. Bye.